I know, Oscar. Let's just see. Oh, hello, everybody, and welcome again to our story time. The story we've got today, I think you all will know it. It's called The Smartest Giant in Town. What a great book, isn't it? By Julia Donaldson again. Let's have a little look. I know you're very excited about this one, aren't you, Oscar? Shall we go and find your seat over there? Because you know where it is, don't you? Say bye-bye. Okay, go and find your seat. And the rest of us are going to read The Smartest Giant in Town. Are you ready? Sitting comfortably. Right, here we go. The Smartest Giant in Town. And there he is. Is he looking really smart? What do we think? Maybe not. Let me move my chair and I can see the words. George was a giant, the scruffiest giant in town. He always wore the same pair of old brown sandals and the same old patched up gown. I wish it wasn't the scruffiest giant in town, she said really sadly, because look at them, they look really smart, don't they, in their hats. And there's poor George in his gown. Never mind, let's see what happens. Right. But one day, George noticed a new shop. It was full of smart clothes, so he bought, what's he got? A shirt, a smart pair of trousers, a smart belt, a smart stripy tie, some socks and some shoes. Now I'm the smartest giant in town, he said. Oh, is it going to be for long? George left his old clothes behind in the shop. He was about to go home when he heard a sound. Out on the pavement stood a giraffe who was sniffing sadly. What's the matter? Said George. Oh dear. Look how smart George looks. Wow. It's my neck, said the giraffe. It's so very long and so very cold. I wish I had a nice, long, warm scarf. What do you think George is going to give him? Shall we see? Shall we have a little look, Oscar? Yeah, good boy. Oh. Cheer up, said George, and he took off his stripy tie. It didn't match my socks anyway, he said. And he wound it round and round the giraffe's neck. It made a wonderful scarf. Thank you, said the giraffe. As George strode towards home, he sang to himself, my tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe, but look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town. Do you think he's going to be smartest giant for long? Let's have a little look. George came to a river. On a boat stood a goat who was bleating loudly. What's the matter? Asked George. It's my sail, said the goat. It blew away in a storm. I wish I had a strong new sail for my boat. Can you see his sail has gone? Oh dear. What's he taken off? Anybody know what that is? Should we find out? Yeah, let's find out. Cheer up, said George, and he took off his new white shirt. Oh, it kept coming undone anyway, he said, and he tied it to the mast of the goat's boat. It made the most magnificent sail. Thank you, said the goat, very, very happy, and off he sailed. George strode on singing to himself, my tie is a scarf for a cold, you know it, giraffe. My shirt's on a boat, it's a sail for a goat. But look me up and down, I'm altogether the smartest giant in town. Now then, who are these down here? George came to a tiny ruined house. Beside the house stood a white mouse with lots of baby mice. They were all squeak, 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 squeak. What's the matter? Asked George. It's our house, squealed the mother mouse. It burnt down and now we have nowhere to live. I wish we had a nice new house, said the mice. Oh, what do you think George could use? Any thoughts? Shall we try his shoes? Cheer up, said George, and he took off one of his shiny shoes. It was giving me blisters anyway, he said. As the mouse and her baby scrambled inside, this makes the perfect home for them. Thank you, they squeak, 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 squeaked. George had to hop along the road now, but, wow, he didn't mind. As he'd hopped, he sang to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold. Yep, giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. But look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town. George came to a campsite. Beside a tent stood a fox who was crying. What's the matter? Asked George. Can you see him crying? Not very sad. It's my sleeping bag, said the fox. I dropped it in a puddle. I wish I had a warm, dry sleeping bag because I'm not going to get to sleep. What's George going to give him? Shall we find out? Cheer up, said George, and he took off one of his socks with diamonds up the sides. It was tickling my toes anyway, he said, as the fox snuggled into it. It made a very fine sleeping bag. Thank you, said the fox. George hopped on singing to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. And one of my socks is a bed for a fox. But look me up and down, I'm the smartest giant in town. Is he the smartest giant in town? Not quite, is he? George came to a squelchy bog. Beside the bog stood a dog. Who was howling? What's the matter? Asked George. Well, it's the bog, said the dog. I need to go across, but I keep getting stuck in the mud. I wish there was some kind of path, he said. What could George use that he's got left? Shall we see? Cheer up, said George, and he took off his smart new belt. It was squashing my tummy anyway, he said, as he laid it down over the bog. It made an excellent path. Thank you, said the dog. The wind started to blow, but George didn't mind. He hopped and sang to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. My socks is a bed for a fox. And my belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog. But is he the smartest giant in town? No, my trousers are falling down. I'm the coldest giant in town. Suddenly, George felt sad and shivery. Can you see him? Oh dear. And not at all smart. He stood on one foot and thought, I'll have to go back to the shop and buy some more clothes. He decided. He turned round and hopped all the way back to the shop. Now then, what's going to happen? But when he got there, it was closed. Oh no, cried George as he sank down onto the doorstep, and a tear ran down his nose. He felt as sad as all the animals he had met on his way home. Then at the corner of his eye, he saw a bag with something familiar poking out the top. George looked a little closer. What is it? What is it? It's my gown, he yelled. My dear old gown and sandals. George put them on. They felt wonderfully comfortable. I'm the cosiest giant, he cried, and he danced back home along the road. So he's back with his gown and sandals, isn't he? But outside his front door, who's waiting for him? All the animals he had helped were carrying an enormous present. Come on, George, they said, open it. George untied the ribbon, and inside was a beautiful gold crown and a card. Look inside the card, George, said the animals. And George put the crown on his head and opened up his card. Are you ready? You can say this with me now. And it said, your tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. Your shirt's a boat for a sail for a goat. Your shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of your socks is a bed for a fox. Your belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog. So here is a very fine crown to go with the sandals and gown of the kindest giant in town. Wow, wasn't he so kind to help all those animals? All of those animals that were cold and sad. They were. Oh, come on then, Oscar, come with me. Oh, here he is. I'm pleased you enjoyed that. It was an excellent story, wasn't it? Brilliant. Enjoy it. See if you want to draw any pictures or make a rhyme up of your own. And just have a super, super day. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye, Oscar. Well done.